Mariana Trench is the deepest place on Earth, nearly 11,000 meters deep, a realm of eternal darkness, where the pressure can crush a human in seconds, where terrifying deep-sea monsters dwell, and a place we've known almost nothing about. Until now. Because today, one country is moving toward full control over these depths, and not just for science. China is deploying fleets of deep-sea robots, building underwater bases, and quietly claiming what lies at the bottom, while the rest of the world doesn't even realize what's happening. Over the past 5 years, China has invested more than $50 billion into oceanic research, more than all other countries combined. They established 12 new research centers, hired over 1,000 leading marine biologists and engineers from around the world, and launched 47 deep-sea missions. Their new Deep-Sea Research Institute in Qingdao covers 200 hectares and is equipped with supercomputers capable of simulating ocean processes with unprecedented accuracy. China's CSIC Corporation has built special shipyards for producing deep-sea vessels, where new robots roll off the line every month. In Shanghai, a massive underwater robotics lab has opened, employing nearly 1,000 engineers. Peking University launched a specialized training program for deep-sea technology experts, producing 500 top-tier engineers each year. While the U.S. cuts ocean research budgets annually, China is diving deeper, moving faster, and investing more aggressively than any nation in history. And what they've discovered in the depths changes everything. The Mariana Trench is a massive underwater canyon in the western Pacific Ocean, east of the Philippines. It's the deepest part of the ocean and one of the most extreme places on Earth, stretching 2,550 kilometers long and 69 kilometers wide, about the size of New York State, flipped vertically into the Earth. If you place Mount Everest inside, its peak would still be 2 kilometers below sea level. To reach the bottom, you must travel through the entire thickness of the ocean, a journey through multiple alien worlds, each with its own rules of physics and biology. It's like descending through the atmospheres of different planets, all stacked in one place. At the surface, everything is familiar, warm, sunlit zones with coral reefs and schools of fish. Water temperature here reaches up to 28 degrees Celsius, and sunlight penetrates down to 80 meters, supporting a rich ecosystem. Dolphins, sharks, rays, and thousands of species of tropical fish live here. But just 200 meters deeper begins the twilight zone, where sunlight fades and pressure increases to 10 times that at the surface. Strange creatures dwell here: silver, snake-like fish the length of a bus, and transparent sea angels fluttering in the dark. Giant jellyfish drift like ghosts, while glowing tentacled squid hunt in the dusk. Temperatures drop to 4 degrees Celsius. Oxygen levels fall from 7 milligrams per liter to a mere 0.5. It's in this zone that Chinese researchers first detected something unusual: anomalous magnetic fields, not corresponding to any known geological structure. Magnetometers on their robots recorded fluctuations up to 2,000 nanoteslas, 20 times stronger than typical readings for this depth. At a depth of 1 kilometer begins the midnight zone, complete darkness. The only light here comes from the bioluminescence of the creatures themselves. Pressure is now 100 times at sea level, like having an adult elephant press on every square centimeter of your body. Here live astonishing creatures: giant squid with eyes the size of soccer balls, anglerfish with glowing lures, and jellyfish the size of cars floating in total silence. This is the home of the legendary giant squid, up to 18 meters long, with tentacles lined with suction cups the size of dinner plates. The anglerfish uses its glowing lure to attract prey directly into its mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. Sea devils with enormous jaws and telescopic stomachs can swallow prey larger than themselves. It was in this zone that Chinese sensors began recording something shocking: the organized movement of large objects, not chaotic, but following specific paths. Sonar data revealed structures the size of multi-story buildings moving slowly along the seabed. Some of these objects traveled at speeds up to 3 kilometers per hour, incredibly fast for deep-sea currents. Officially, Chinese scientists claimed these were underwater landslides, but secret documents pointed to their regularity and predictability. At 4,000 meters, we enter the abyssal zone, cold, dark, and silent. Temperatures remain a constant 2 degrees Celsius year-round. The seabed appears to be ordinary mud, but that's deceiving. For millions of years, everything that dies in the ocean, fish, plankton, even microscopic particles, has slowly settled here. This marine snow has formed soft sediment layers, some over a kilometer thick. Buried in this silt is the ocean's history, going back 200 million years. China's ultra-deep drilling rigs pierced these layers and uncovered extraordinary things. In sediment samples over 50 million years old, they found microorganisms still alive. These ancient bacteria have adapted to conditions found nowhere else on Earth. They may hold the key to new medicines or even help us understand the origin of life. Of particular interest were so-called living fossils, bacteria that use chemical processes for energy that existed billions of years ago, before oxygen filled the atmosphere. These organisms feed on hydrogen sulfide and methane, converting toxic gases into harmless compounds. When a whale carcass falls to the ocean floor, it becomes a magnet for life. Chinese researchers found that around such whale graveyards, the concentration of rare metals is many times higher than normal. The decaying tissues of the whales trigger unique chemical reactions with seawater, literally drawing precious elements from dissolved minerals. A single large whale can create a rare earth metal deposit worth tens of millions of dollars. Soil analysis from these sites revealed high levels of cerium, neodymium, and terbium, metals critical for magnets in wind turbines and electric vehicles. The decomposition of a whale at the ocean floor can take up to 100 years. First, sharks and crabs devour the soft tissue. Then worms and mollusks clean the bones, and finally, bacteria break down the fat in the bones, creating a unique ecosystem. Up to 200 species can live around a single whale skeleton, many of which exist nowhere else. Moreover, biochemists discovered that bacteria feeding on decaying whales produce unique enzymes capable of breaking down plastic at temperatures as low as minus 10 degrees Celsius. This discovery could revolutionize waste recycling. 1 gram of such enzymes on the black market could be worth up to $100,000. Even deeper, at 6,000 meters, begins the Hadal Zone, named after Hades, the Greek god of the underworld. This is a domain of ocean trenches. Only a handful of submersibles have ever reached these depths. Here, pressure is 600 times greater than at the surface, the equivalent of 50 elephants standing on every square centimeter. At such pressure, lead becomes as fluid as water, and air compresses to 1/600th its original volume. Life in the Hadal Zone seems impossible, and yet it exists. Chinese robots discovered colonies of bacteria that feed directly on hydrogen seeping from the Earth's mantle. These organisms survive without sunlight or organic material, drawing energy straight from the planet's interior. Studying their metabolism may pave the way for the creation of highly efficient next-generation biofuels. Also found here are amphipods, thumb-sized crustaceans that resemble transparent shrimp. They feed on organic particles falling from above and can survive pressures that would instantly kill any surface-dwelling creature. Their cells contain special proteins that prevent their membranes from being destroyed by the crushing pressure. And finally, at nearly 11,000 meters, lies the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Here, the pressure is so intense, it's equivalent to 90 adult elephants pressing down on each finger-sized area of the body. At the very bottom, Chinese robots discovered traces of enormous geological structures, vast underground caves, and tunnels stretching for tens of kilometers. These cavities are so massive that entire cities could fit inside them. Preliminary analysis revealed that these caves weren't formed by water erosion, as previously thought, but by ancient volcanic activity. Inside, special sensors recorded temperatures reaching up to 400 degrees Celsius and mysterious seismic pulses at a frequency of 7.83 Hertz, exactly the same as the Earth's natural resonance. Some scientists speculate that these caves may be connected to the Earth's core via a network of magma channels. The largest cave found has a volume of approximately 50 cubic kilometers, the size of several large cities placed underground. Sonar data analysis showed multiple levels inside, connected by vertical shafts. It resembles a colossal artificial structure far more than a natural geological formation. Even at the very bottom, life doesn't surrender. Here live xenophytophores, giant single-celled organisms up to 20 centimeters in size that build homes from sand grains and organic debris. They filter seawater to extract nutrients and can live for hundreds of years. The first ascent to the bottom of the Mariana Trench occurred in 1960. Swiss engineer Jacques Picard and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh spent just 20 minutes there in the Trias bathyscaphe. The craft weighed 150 tons, but could carry only 400 kilograms of payload. For more than 50 years, no one repeated the feat. In 2012, James Cameron descended solo, but his dive lasted only 3 hours. Between 2018 and 2022, Victor Vescovo completed several dives, each costing around $20 million. All of these missions were rare, expensive, and mostly one-time efforts, until China joined the game. China's approach was radically different. Instead of prestigious solo dives, they focused on establishing a permanent presence in the depths. In 2020, China sent a 3-person team to the bottom in the Fendu submersible. This craft was revolutionary. Instead of a traditional steel sphere, it used a proprietary titanium alloy 3 times stronger than regular titanium. Fendus could stay at the bottom for up to 12 hours and collect rock samples weighing up to 200 kilograms. But that was only the beginning. Chinese engineers developed a groundbreaking technology, spherical titanium capsules capable of withstanding pressures of 1,100 atmospheres. Each capsule contains an autonomous AI module that can make decisions without surface communication. These robots are equipped with quantum processors cooled to near absolute zero, giving them computational power thousands of times greater than conventional computers. In just 4 years, China deployed a network of 240 such robots across the Pacific Ocean. Each robot costs around $15 million, but their capabilities surpass anything possessed by other nations. They can drill into the seafloor up to 50 meters, analyze chemical composition in real time, carry out small underwater detonations for seismic surveying, and even build simple structures on the ocean floor. By 2024, a new robot emerged, the Dragon of the Depths, no larger than a shoebox, yet a masterpiece of Chinese engineering. Its body is made of a carbon nanotube-based composite, so strong that a bullet can't pierce it. Inside are quantum processors capable of processing terabytes of data in seconds. Its energy system runs on radioisotope elements, allowing it to function for up to 30 years without recharging. This robot weighs only 45 kilograms, but can perform tasks that once required machines weighing dozens of tons. Its manipulators can lift objects up to 500 kilograms, and its drill can pierce even the hardest bedrock. The Dragon of the Depths is equipped with systems that seem like science fiction. Sensors that can detect metal objects the size of a coin from a kilometer away. Its chemical analyzers can determine the composition of a substance from a single molecule dissolved in water. And it has one feature that Chinese officials rarely discuss, a self-replication system. Given the right materials, the robot can create a simplified copy of itself in 72 hours. China is developing entire fleets of specialized robots. Swarm collectors, football-sized drones, move in packs of 50, gathering microscopic samples and creating detailed 3D maps of the seafloor's chemical composition. Drillers, cylindrical machines about 2 meters long, bore into rock and extract core samples from depths of up to 100 meters. Hunters, fast triangular robots, specialize in tracking specific targets or anomalies, moving at speeds up to 15 knots even at depth of 8,000 meters. Shapeshifters can alter their form to mimic marine animals, disguising themselves as fish, squid, or even jellyfish. Their outer shell is made of programmable matter, a material that can change color, texture, and even bioluminescence to perfectly match local fauna. These robots can infiltrate the most guarded ocean regions undetected. But the most secretive project is the Leviathans, truck-sized robots capable of self-replication and construction. If one finds enough raw material on the ocean floor, it can build a copy of itself within a few weeks. In theory, a single Leviathan could create an entire army of robots, exponentially increasing China's underwater presence without needing to deploy new machines from the surface. The deep sea holds immense resources. Cold seeps, areas where methane and hydrogen sulfide leak from the seabed. support entire ecosystems of mussels, clams, and tube worms that survive without sunlight. Methane hydrates, frozen methane trapped in icy structures, contain energy equivalent to millions of tons of oil. Chinese researchers discovered that in some areas, the concentration of methane hydrates is so high, the entire seafloor consists of flammable ice. 1 square kilometer of such seabed contains energy equivalent to 10 million tons of oil. Preliminary estimates suggest that the Mariana Trench alone holds enough methane hydrates to power the entire world for 500 years. That's 200 times more than all known oil and gas reserves on the planet. China has developed a technology for the controlled extraction of these methane hydrates. Their robots can carefully heat sections of the seabed using laser systems with power up to 50 kilowatts, turning solid hydrates into gas, which is then collected in special containers. This gives China the ability to literally mine energy straight from the ocean floor without bringing it to the surface. A single robot can harvest up to 20 cubic meters of gas per day. Scattered across the seafloor are polymetallic nodules, potato-sized rocks, containing valuable metals, cobalt, nickel, copper, and manganese. These metals are critical for batteries, electric vehicles, and renewable energy systems. 1 ton of nodules contains more cobalt than all of Africa's land-based reserves combined. Nodule formation takes millions of years. Metals slowly precipitate from seawater, around small nuclei, often bone or tooth fragments of ancient fish. Chinese geologists discovered that the richest nodule deposits lie in zones of ancient underwater volcanoes, where geothermal activity accelerated metal concentration. China plans to build a permanent underwater base at a depth of 2,000 meters, Tianlong, or Heavenly Dragon. This modular structure, made from ultra-strong titanium alloy, is 15 meters in diameter and 8 meters tall. The base is designed to support a crew of 12, who can remain underwater for up to 6 months without rotation. The living modules are equipped with air and water regeneration systems, hydroponic farms for growing food, and even a gym adapted for high-pressure conditions. The base is powered by an autonomous 50-megawatt nuclear reactor, enough to supply a small city. The reactor runs on thorium fuel, a material that cannot be weaponized. But even small quantities provide stable and reliable energy for decades. The cooling system uses surrounding seawater, with an output temperature increase of no more than 2 degrees Celsius, preventing ecological impact. Most impressive is the base's communication system. China developed a quantum communication technology that works underwater, allowing data to be transmitted to the surface instantly with zero delay. This system is based on the principles of quantum entanglement and operates faster than any underwater cable, with a bandwidth of up to 100 terabits per second. Inside the base are 3D printers capable of producing new robots from materials extracted from the seabed. These printers work with titanium, aluminum, rare earth metals, and can even manufacture complex electronics from ocean mine components. The base can autonomously expand by building new modules and equipment without surface support. But the deep holds something far more troubling. Beneath the ocean floor lies the nervous system of the modern world, undersea data cables, which carry 99% of international internet traffic. These cables are thinner than a garden hose, yet through them flows all global information. Trillions of dollars in banking transactions, government communications, military data, and the personal messages of billions of people. In March 2025, the Chinese government confirmed the development of a high-tech deep-sea device capable of cutting reinforced undersea cables at depths of up to 4,000 meters. Officially, it is positioned as a rescue tool, but experts immediately noted its military potential. Such robots can not only sever cables, but also install listening devices, the size of a coin. These devices can intercept all traffic, emails, bank transactions, government secrets, military data. Even worse, the robots can install remote detonated explosive charges. A single surface command could destroy dozens of cables worldwide simultaneously. In the event of a conflict, this weapon could paralyze entire nations within minutes. Banking systems would collapse, government communication would cease, military networks would go dark. Modern civilization, dependent on the internet, would freeze like a stopped clock. Western intelligence agencies are aware of this threat, but are utterly powerless against it. The robots operate at depths unreachable by most military submarines. They can hide for months in underwater canyons and activate at any moment. According to intelligence estimates, China has already deployed dozens of such devices along key cable routes. Some experts suggest the numbers are in the hundreds or even thousands. Robots silently patrolling the entire ocean floor. All of the world's major internet arteries, from transatlantic to Asian cables, are already under their control. This means that if China chooses to, it could almost instantly paralyze the rest of the world. One coordinated attack, and Europe, America, Australia will be cut off. For the first time in history, humanity faces a situation where its technological dependence has become a lethal vulnerability, hidden deep beneath the ocean, controlled by a single nation. Meanwhile, the U.S. is losing ground. Scientific budgets are being slashed. The current administration has cut funding to NOAA, the only agency responsible for America's oceanic research. NOAA's budget dropped from $6.9 billion in 2023 to $4.2 billion in 2025. Over 2,000 researchers were laid off or reassigned. While China pours money and talent into its laboratories, the U.S. is sidelining its only agency created to compete in ocean exploration. American oceanographic vessels sit idle in ports due to a lack of fuel and maintenance funding. Research programs that ran for decades have been terminated. Young scientists are leaving the country or abandoning oceanography altogether. While Chinese robots roam the ocean depths, American marine science is experiencing its worst crisis in the past 50 years. But the most shocking deep-sea discovery had nothing to do with resources or technology. In June 2024, while exploring an underwater mountain, Chinese robots stumbled upon a horrifying scene. Dozens, then hundreds of rusting barrels buried beneath the seafloor silt. The burial site covered an area of about 15 square kilometers. Over 50,000 containers, neatly arranged in a grid, with roughly 10 meters between them. Scientists quickly realized this was no random dump. It was an organized, systematic burial of radioactive waste, carried out over decades according to a precise plan. Metal analysis revealed that some of the oldest containers were dumped as far back as the 1960s. Many barrels still bore markings from European nuclear companies. Major European corporations had been dumping their nuclear waste in the ocean, choosing the deepest locations they believed no one would ever find. Radiation levels at the burial epicenter exceeded the norm by 15,000 times, a dose lethal to humans within minutes. Many containers had already corroded. Decades of seawater had eaten through the steel, and radioactive material was slowly leaking into the ocean. Computer models revealed the scale of the catastrophe. Radioactive substances had already created a dead zone with a 50-kilometer radius around the burial site. Ocean currents are slowly spreading contaminated water across the globe. Within a few decades, radioactive particles will reach the shores of every continent. Even worse, the burial site lies near an active seismic fault, where earthquakes occur every 15 to 20 years. The last one struck in 2019. The next could happen at any moment. Scientists ran a detailed simulation of a high-magnitude quake. If one ever strikes, the underwater shocks could rupture over 30,000 containers at once. A cloud of radioactive dust would rise from the seafloor and be picked up by deep ocean currents. Within the first 48 hours, the contaminated water would spread over an area larger than the entire territory of France. The most terrifying part is that the containers cannot be safely brought to the surface. Engineers calculated 47 different container recovery scenarios. Every one of them ended in catastrophe. When lifted from great depths, the pressure inside the containers would drop so suddenly that they would explode like bombs, dispersing radioactive material into the water. Many of the containers have corroded so badly they fall apart at the slightest touch. Some contain radioactive liquid under high pressure. If one of those ruptures at depth, It would create a radioactive geyser several kilometers high, instantly contaminating vast volumes of water. Even attempting to isolate the burial site in place is nearly impossible. It would require building an underwater sarcophagus the size of a small city, a structure 200 meters tall and 5 kilometers wide. Such a project would cost no less than $1 trillion, with a failure risk of over 50%. And even a successful sarcophagus would only delay the disaster by a few decades. The amount of radioactive material in the underwater burial site exceeds the Chernobyl release by 200 times. But unlike Chernobyl, where most of the radiation settled within a few hundred kilometers, ocean currents will carry the contamination around the entire globe. Climatologists have modeled the long-term effects. According to their calculations, within 50 years after a hypothetical earthquake, the average global radiation level would triple. Cancer rates would rise eightfold. Average human life expectancy would drop by 15 years. Ocean ecosystems would be destroyed permanently. Plankton, the foundation of the entire marine food chain, would either mutate or die off within months. Tuna, salmon, cod, the primary commercial fish species, would disappear. Billions of people who rely on seafood as their main source of protein would face famine. The most horrifying scenario involves a possible chain reaction. If the radiation penetrates underground aquifers through cracks in the ocean floor, it could activate other hidden nuclear dump sites across the globe. Over the past 70 years, various countries have secretly buried nuclear waste in the oceans. The site discovered was just the first of many similar graveyards scattered across the seafloor. Scientists fear this is only the tip of the iceberg. Dozens of other radioactive cemeteries may be hiding somewhere in the depths. The total volume of sunken radioactive material may exceed 200,000 tons. If all of these burial sites collapse at once under the influence of rising radiation, Earth could become a dead planet for decades. The catastrophe has already begun, just very slowly, and still unnoticed by most people. Sensors are recording increasing radiation levels in fish worldwide. The level of cesium-137 in tuna has increased by 15% over the past year. Strontium-90 has been detected in seaweed. This means radioactive substances from ocean dumps have already begun their deadly journey across the planet. Geologists warn, earthquakes near the burial zone are not a question of if, but when. Seismic activity in the region is increasing. Small tremors are becoming more frequent. And somewhere in the ocean depths, rusting containers continue to slowly decay, preparing to turn the cradle of life into its grave.